I'm Willa Huston. I'm an Associate Professor here at the University of Technology, Sydney. I'm from the Faculty of Science, and I'm really interested in microbiology and the best learning outcomes for our students. But I'm also interested in equity and diversity. And today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about UTS's commitment to the Athena SWAN project, a gender equity project for science, technology, engineering, maths, and medicine. Social justice, or diversity and inclusion, are core parts of UTS. We're committed to being a university that grows its reputation as a world-leading university of technology, but we continue to focus on social justice, and it will always be core to everything we do. To ensure that this is the case, we have a Centre for Social Justice and Inclusion that takes responsibility for driving this agenda. So I'm going to tell you about the Athena SWAN project. UTS is one of the first universities to be given a bronze Athena SWAN medal here in Australia. The Athena SWAN project is a project focused on gender equity in the STEM faculties: science, technology, engineering, maths, and medicine. In the early stages of launching the Athena SWAN project, we already knew that we have a gender equity problem in those disciplines. And this graph here shows you the Australian workforce. And what you can see is graduating with a bachelor is almost equal males and females. But as you progress through your careers to the more senior levels, there's a great disparity in males versus females in the senior levels of science faculty, science and science-related faculties. This is not a new problem, and it had been thought to be a pipeline problem, i.e. there weren't enough women going in to make it to the end. But as you can see here, there's not a pipeline problem. There's real barriers and problems with women making it to senior leadership in the STEM faculties. The Athena SWAN project is a specific accreditation process that sets out to deliberately address this problem. So the Athena SWAN is an international accreditation. It has a charter based on 10 key principles, and institutions who sign on to be part of the Athena SWAN have to commit to this really progressive charter. They have to adopt these principles throughout their organisation in policy and practice, also with specific action plans to address the problems and change their organisational culture. Institutions have to go through a formal accreditation process that they must apply for, and they are not guaranteed to be awarded. In fact, not every institution has been awarded the Athena SWAN that has applied. So what are we doing at UTS to achieve gender equity and other forms of social justice, diversity and inclusion within our university? Well, specifically, we've created and analysed our gender profile across our organisation. We've found where the key issues are, where we see the gender dropping, what impacts on career attrition, where the pipelines and career barriers exist, and we've identified what the specific interventions we are needing to do to address those problems. We then created a 4-year action plan of how we will implement actions to address those problems, and we will continue to monitor and review this plan as we progress throughout the 4 years of our first Athena SWAN. We also have senior commitment. The highest levels of senior leadership at our university are committed to this plan, and we report regularly to them on its progress. It's important to note that the Athena SWAN that I'm telling you about today is only one of the projects at UTS. We're very focused on diversity and inclusion in a whole raft of ways. We're also awarded a Women's Employer of Choice for gender equality. We've also been awarded the LGBTI Inclusive Employers Award, and we're also part of the Respect Now Always campaign, a national campaign. So back to the Athena SWAN. Some of the specific things we're working on is unconscious bias training. Unconscious bias training is a key element of individuals understanding how they make decisions sometimes that are influenced by their own biases rather than by the real data or the real evidence. We've also set a specific target to hit 40% academic women in our STEM faculties by 2022. We specifically offered real interventions to support research excellence for women and carers. And also, being in the Australia environment, we really need to focus on our Indigenous or First Nations peoples. And we also have specific Indigenous education and employment goals. Finally, our Equal Futures project is a project where we're showcasing our leadership members who are already women to show and profile those that get to the leadership levels. So a little bit more about our Athena SWAN action plan. We identified 5 key areas that we need to target in our interventions and put specific actions in place to address the problems. A very big problem area is recruitment. It's well known internationally that recruitment is subject to many biases, and without setting explicit recruitment targets, training the individuals involved, and monitoring their progress, it's not clear how we can change that. So this is our goals. These are the actions we'll put in place. We're very focused on our current workforce. We've put a range of initiatives in to enable promotion and career development of our current workforce of women in the STEM faculties. This includes things like career development opportunities, support initiatives, internal development initiatives, and a range of other actions. We also know that the workplace culture has a big impact on the success of women and other members of diverse communities in our workforce. We're really looking at how we welcome and onboard individuals, how we allocate work, how we reward work, things like childcare, vacations, care, parental leave, all of those things that make our organisation a great culture to work in that supports all. We do feel that we have a responsibility as well to raise awareness and support diversity across the STEM faculties. It's vital that everybody in the STEM faculties understands and celebrates diversity. So things like celebrations, formal support schemes, naming and faming, but also addressing negative things like discrimination and harassment are vital in this action item. And finally, we need to look at the whole organisation. We need to make sure there's nothing in our governance structures, our policies or practices that's actually excluding women and other underrepresented minorities from progressing to leadership. A really exciting project is a name and fame project or a showcase project where we're celebrating diversity. And we're particularly excited about this project because it's called the Leaders in Their Field project. And what we're celebrating here is women who are real research leaders in their own research fields, making a big difference with their research, but also really working on gender equity and trying to break those barriers in gender equity. So we're visibly role modeling these women and the work they do, celebrating the work they do in their research, but also in gender equity, to create a culture in our workforce where we celebrate those people who are trying to make a difference. I recommend you have a look at the web link below to see some of these exciting examples. In addition to this, of course, we have a broader social impact project at UTS. And we've got 6 key elements of our broader social impact lens that we operate within. Of course, we want to be sure that people from all backgrounds are able to participate and complete their higher education at UTS. And so we have specific agendas around ensuring target groups that need more opportunities and equity are able to attend and study and succeed at UTS. We want to give students the opportunity to carry on with their own personal and social responsibilities. So we put a range of projects in place to support students for their own personal and social responsibility projects. Similarly for staff, we provide opportunities for staff to engage in their own social impact work. We also want to be sure that the research, teaching and program outcomes that we are celebrating and supporting at UTS actively make a difference to the world and the community. We want to be sure we're doing research that has a social impact. As a university, as a leader in the community, we also want to be known to be an advocate or thought leader across the community for things that impact on the well-being and social justice for all in the community. And of course, all of this means that our own business development, our own strategic business implementation has to deeply embed a social justice framework within how we do our own business. If you want to know more about our UTS social impact, have a look at this link. Some examples of those social impact projects. We've really been looking into what it's like to be at work for our First National workers with a survey. We've supported a project to look at community-based home living for people with intellectual disabilities. We're very committed to students as partners and really engaging students as full partners across our university. And in Australia, being such a big country, we really need to have a deep commitment to rural communities, and this is a project at UTS. All of our projects with social impact are monitored through our social impact framework, and you can have a look more at this on the UTS website. So just to conclude, we deeply believe at UTS that to solve the world's problems, we all need to bring together a diversity of thoughts, a diversity of experiences to make the biggest difference, particularly in science, technology, engineering, maths, and medical facilities and faculties. We need to see something like this. Women of all sorts of backgrounds being celebrated and supported to achieve their research goals. And that's how we think we'll make the biggest difference to the globe. If this sounds like the right place for you, I encourage you to come and ask us some more questions at the UTS Faculty of Science. If you want any more information, please follow this email link below. and thank you for listening today.